Mo ní bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti gbọ́kàn ládé kan o lójúde bàbá mi ọmọ eléégún adé. Eégún mi tàjòdè ẹ̀rẹ́kọ̀ gbalẹ̀. Eégún ẹ̀rọ ọ̀run kìkì. Ọ̀sàbí àká tó jẹ tó tàbí màmá túnde o.
Àwo eégún o. Àwo eégún o. Àwo eégún o. Pé bí ìlú dùn báyìí láṣèlú, ìlú ìbádùn báyìí láṣèlú, adé afégúngún eléyìí tí ó tọ̀run kápò ọmọ tuntun wálé ayé, jẹ́ bí ìlú dùn báyìí láṣèlú, ìlú ìbádùn ìwòrì àwòdín. Bí ìlú dùn báyìí láṣèlú, bí ìlú dùn báyìí láṣèlú, ìlú ìbádùn báyìí láṣèlú, ìlú ìbádùn báyìí láṣèlú. Atọ́kùn májà ó fi bàbá bẹ́ẹ̀, atọ́kùn májà ó fi bàbá bẹ́ẹ̀. Alágbá alágbálàgbá alágbá alágbálàgbá. Wọ́n ti yí dùn bó ṣe mú, wọ́n ti yí dùn bó ṣe mú, wọ́n ti yí dùn bó ṣe mú. Ẹ lè máa wé kókó ẹ ò lè bó tiwa o. Ẹ lè máa wé kókó ẹ ò lè bó tiwa. Ẹ lè máa wé kókó ẹ ò lè bó tiwa o. Ẹ lè máa wé kókó ẹ ò lè bó tiwa. Bẹ́ẹ̀kú bá ṣubú, ìyá wọn jẹ ní òkè. Bẹ́ẹ̀kú bá ṣubú, ìyá wọn jẹ ní òkè. Ẹ lè máa wé kókó ẹ ò lè bó tiwa. Fẹ́lẹ́ kú ojàre, fẹ́lẹ́ kú láwùrọ̀, fẹ́lẹ́ kú ojàre, fẹ́lẹ́ kú láwùrọ̀, fẹ́lẹ́ kú ojàre, fẹ́lẹ́ kú ọdún bá dé máa kẹ́gbà dání, fẹ́lẹ́ kú ọdún bá dé máa kẹ́rò lẹ́yìn o, fẹ́lẹ́ kú ẹ̀jẹ̀ ń fẹ́lẹ́ kú ẹ̀jẹ̀ ń fẹ́lẹ́ kú ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ó dàbí kó ẹ̀jẹ̀ ń fẹ́lẹ́ kú ẹ̀jẹ̀ ń fẹ́lẹ́ kú ẹ̀jẹ̀ ń fẹ́lẹ́ kú ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ó dàbí kó ẹ̀jẹ̀ ń fẹ́lẹ́ kú. Ẹmú mi mọ yàtọ̀ ẹmú mi mọ yàtọ̀ ẹmú gbogbo jẹ tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí ẹmú mi mọ yàtọ̀ ẹmú mi mọ yàtọ̀ ẹmú mi mọ yàtọ̀ gbogbo jẹ tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí ẹmú mi mọ yàtọ̀ ẹmú mi.
ẹ lè máa wé gbogbo ẹ ò lè bó tiwa o. ẹ lè máa wé gbogbo ẹ ò lè bó tiwa. ẹ lè máa wé gbogbo ọ̀sẹ̀ ẹ ò lè bó tiwa o. ẹ lè máa wé gbogbo ẹ ò lè bó tiwa. ẹ lè máa wé gbogbo ẹ ò lè bó tiwa o. ẹ lè máa wé gbogbo ẹ ò lè bó tiwa. ẹ lè máa wé gbogbo ẹ ò lè bó tiwa o. ẹ lè máa wé gbogbo ẹ ò lè bó tiwa. Seeds of life, there's a thought, maintain your stride, let no sorrow be in your eyes, for soon shall every tears be dry, let no fear it be your goal, no matter what's the foes, all you got to do, rise in the strength of Jah, yeah, and face life up your way, yeah, press on upwards still, with a better hope and stronger wind. Rise in the strength of Jah, yeah, and face life up your way, yeah. Press on upwards here, with a better hope and stronger wind. Than in the past. Do you hear what I say? Than in the past. Rise up, in the strength of Jah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All the changing seasons of life, ever thought, maintain your stride, let no sorrow be in your eyes, for soon shall every day be dry, let no fear impede your goals, no matter what's the foes, all you got to do, rise in the strength of Jah, yeah, hey, and face life up your way, yeah. Press on upwards here, with a better hope and stronger wind. Rise in the strength of God, yeah, and face.
Report, Ashe. Report the creative spirit, the great Ashe out of which we all emerge, Ashe. We pour to that creative spirit by whatever name we know it, whatever name you hold in your heart, in your mind, whatever name your ancestors gave, whatever name you learned as a child, whatever name you believe it to be, whatever name you believe it to be in spirit or in science, Ashe. We pour to the first human beings who came into existence on this planet, the first human beings who raised the first structures, who cooked the first meals, who taught the first children, who had the first children, the first Africans, the first people who stood upright who walked, who figured out how to stay on this planet, who figured out how to pass that knowledge on to their children and their children's children, the mothers and fathers of civilization. Ashe. We pour the next libation to their grandchildren, their children's children, those who raised the great early civilizations of Kemet and Kush and Monomotapa, the great medieval civilizations of Ghana and Mali and Songhai and Kanem-Bornu. We pour to those who the great civilizations of the Igbo people and the Hausa people and the Kakongo people and the Mabara people, the great Mande civilizations, the great Kikongo, the great civilizations of Southern Africa, the Bantu people, the great civilizations of Southeast Africa, the Dinka, the Shilla, the Noor. We pour to those millions who raised the foundation from which the world would learn what it meant to be human in the world. Ashe. We pour to their children who were upon the arrival on the shores of people they had never seen before, found themselves captured and marched overland, found themselves perishing by the millions before they were held on the holding cells and the open air pens on the coast of West, Central, Southern, and East Africa. We pour to the ancestors who did not know as they were stripped of all clothing and sent denuded into boats, packed like animals, and strewn their bones across the floor of the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. We pour to them who in the last moment on Africa grabbed the sand and grabbed the dirt and put it in their mouths and understood that the only thing they might have to preserve their place in that continent was their memory of that place and their ability to pass it on to their children. We pour to them. Ashe. Ashe. We pour to those Africans and their children who finding themselves cast adrift in Santiago, Cuba, who found themselves cast adrift in Porto, Spain, Trinidad, and Port-au-Prince, Haiti, who found themselves cast adrift in New Orleans and Charleston and Mobile, who found themselves cast adrift in Salvador Bahia, who found themselves cast adrift in Barbados and the archipelago that formed the Wayward and the Windward Coast. We found them in these places learning Portuguese and Spanish and French, whose often first words was, "Oh my God, oh Madre de Dios," who found themselves praying to survive and pass on to their children the memories. We pour to those ancestors who are represented in the thousands buried in all the square miles of where we stand, and who sit here buried before us in 400 caskets forged of wood from West Africa with Adinkra symbols. Each one of them, each woman, man, and child, symbolic of millions. The children of those who could not be killed. We pour Ashe. We pour to their children who somehow survived the hells of enslavement and fought for emancipation in the Caribbean, the French, British, Dutch Caribbean, who fought for emancipation in South America, who fought for emancipation in Central America, who fought the struggles we refer to as the Civil War in the United States, who came out of that, marched out of enslavement through Reconstruction, and found themselves making great migrations, eventually ending up in places like New York. Their children's children, who making a way for themselves, became our great-great-grandparents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our parents. Those who, when the first bones were discovered in this space, held their hands and said, "Stop, no more." We are here to speak for those who can no longer speak with their mouth. We pour for those ancestors, some of whom came to Howard University in 2004 and followed these caskets all the way back to New York. Just the ones whose names we know and the ones whose names we don't. And at this moment, as we pour this libation, I would ask anyone who feels comfortable to say the name of someone in your bloodline who is no longer physically here, but who you know made it possible for you to be here. Go ahead, let's hear the name. We never stop praying. We pour the names that we hold collected. Dr. Zumba in Brazil. Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Henri Christophe in Haiti. We pour to the great Avengers, Nanny of the Maroons of Jamaica. We pour to the great ancestors, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass. Say the names that you study. Pour the names of the ancestors that you have come to hold in your heart and your mind as you hope that you can do what they did for us, for your children and children's children. Let's say some of those famous names. Malcolm X, John Henry Clark, John Jackson, Jacob Carruthers. And finally, two final libations. We pour to those who make it possible for us to do what we do. We pour to these rangers who stand guardian over this sacred space. We pour to
Africans and these folks who have come from Howard University, the staff, the faculty, the administrators who brought us here today to bear witness. This is not a libation, but an affirmation, because their hearts still beat, their tongues still speak, their minds still think, and their minds still wish the best for us. Before all of those people who surrounded us on this journey today and made it possible for us to be here, we pour this affirmation of thanks, Ashe. And finally, we pour to your children's children who will one day stand on this faith and speak your name. Ashe.
Slaves. Imperialists have only one cliche in mind. Africa is the empire of slaves and continues to suffer because of imperialists.
This continent
has suffered so much and continues to suffer because of imperialists. These imperialists have only one cliche in mind. Africa is the empire of slaves. This is how they see Africa. For them, Africans belong to them. Our lands belong to them. Our subsoil belongs to them. They have never been able to change the logic until today. This is deplorable. But how do they proceed? Unfortunately, it is since the 1960s that these 6,000 acres of independence have been given to Africa. They have just placed local valets at the head, according to them, of their sub-prefecture to be able to continue to feed them. These local valets, which we are going to call today the slaves of Ceylon, have other goals. They want to live like the master, to satisfy the master, and to do everything that the master dictates to them. They steal. They plunder our states. They bring everything to the master, and their wealth is kept with the master. They do everything to live like the master and always satisfy him. Do you know who these slaves of Ceylon are? Well, we are going to explain to you what they are. They are individuals who have no dignity, who have no morals, who have no personality. But the master slave has always known how to identify these individuals. They are always ready to betray their brother to satisfy the master. They have betrayed us since independence, and others continue to betray us to the benefit of their master. These individuals continue, against all odds, to help the master plunder Africa. They like to say it every year. In their economic polls, Burkina is the poorest country, Mali is the poorest country, Niger is the poorest country. We are ranked among the last. Very well, if we are as poor as they say. But when the time has come to take responsibility, we have asked this master to leave the place. Why don't they want to leave? When we take the case of Niger, for more than 40 years, some countries have been exploiting uranium to produce energy at home. From Ottawa to Paris, the streets are illuminated. It is the light. But in Niger, it is the darkness that has served us. When you go to our states, our soils are full of precious metals, such as gold. But often there is not even the slightest road accessible to reach the areas where they exploit gold, even less certain basic social services. This is why we have decided to revolt and take the fate of our countries into our own hands. There are many other examples, but when we decided so, we were approached by some saloon slaves to pass on the message of their master. Because they had created this kind of polymer chain that rises to the heads of our states to serve them. And we came to break the chain. and it is inconceivable for them.
Ils nous ont donc approchés et ils nous ont
They approached us and asked us to enter the ranks to make the elite lead that must lead Africa,
qui doit diriger l'Afrique parce qu'ils ont une élite formée et formatée.
because they have an elite formed and formatted that must follow, that is embedded in this chain. We refused to enter their ranks. And then the hostilities began.
Les hostilités ont commencé. Ils ont fait fourvoyer dans nos zones.
They have sent several mercenaries and trainers to our area. The agents have descended into the Sahel to carry out barbaric, cowardly attacks against our people, hoping to revolt them.
Espérer les révolter. En plus de ces attaques sur le terrain,
in addition to these attacks on the ground, the attacks on communication, manipulation, and disinformation are full in their ranks.
Mais les peuples du Sahel ont compris.
But the people of the Sahel have understood, and we will never be able to be manipulated again. They know where they come from, they know what they are doing, and they know where they are going.
Nous n'allons plus permettre cela.
We will no longer allow this. People are awake, and people are fighting today.
There's a message in the music. There's a natural mystic floating through the air, baby. I don't want you to feel when you hear the word natural mystic that it ain't real. It's very live, it's tangible, it's touchable. As the great Aista J, our brother who has preceded us, now with the Egun, bless up yourself, Aista J, used to say touchable. We're hearing the voice of brother Ibrahim Toure, who is the present commander of the armed forces in Burkina Faso. Of course, we know Burkina Faso because of his predecessor, the upright man, Thomas Sankara. And the legacy continue. And that's what we're here to celebrate today, legacy. Revolutionary legacy. Evolutionary legacy. The legacy of building and replacing that which we do not desire with that which we want, Speaking of legacy, why this man underneath my voice don't need no introduction. So I let him then bring him front and center and let him do what he did masterfully for decades. You tune into the Ancestral Rock. Stay tuned to yourself. We're here until 4 o'clock. Got some very special guests in the studio joining us on the line. Let's ride, y'all.
Suddenly, things you see got you hurt so bad, so bad. How come the things that make us happy endless time? Suddenly, joy and pain are like sunshine and rain. Joy and pain are like sunshine and rain. Love can be bitter, love can be sweet. Sometimes emotion and sometimes it's sweet. The ones that you care for give you so much pain. Oh, but it's all they're both one in the sky.
Oh my goodness. This man just gave a master class of life. They're both one and the same. The great Frankie Beverly, And I'm happy, speaking for myself, I very, very happy to see the response, just for the world to see ourselves, how we show up as a reflection of love, especially the service that comes through the musical realm. You know, music is the healing force of the universe. I first heard that from Baba Bilal Sunni Ali. Bless up yourself, Baba Bilal. If you're listening, even if you're not listening, bless up yourself and all the family. Music is the healing force of the universe. I know some of y'all saw that second line that they just did for the great Frankie Beverly in New Orleans. Of course, New Orleans is Africa, little Africa. There's many scholarly works that have been done now that reflect, that show and really dissect the reflection of the Nile Valley with the Mississippi Valley. There's even some that say, well, that was the, like they got a Lake Pontchartrain or whatever you call it. I always call it Lake Pontchartrain. And one day I thought about it and it's like, even though I thought I was being slick and I just couldn't pronounce it right, there might be something to that. There have been pyramids and all kind of artifacts that show great evidence of civilization long before the Ma'afa, long before the separation, long before the interruption. So time will tell, because as Black Guru said one time, the whole world is Africa. But Frankie Beverly has done his work in a way that is evident to the people. And we're grateful to see the reflection of the people showing love to our musical healer. It's 30 minutes after the hour. We're here until the 4 o'clock hour. As we said, it's festival time. It's been festival time in some parts of the world. There's always festival time somewhere. Talking about in our local landscape in Atlanta, there are certain pockets of energy, certain pockets of activation, certain pockets of just collective gathering. And, springtime, summertime, and coming into the autumn again, because in the heat of the summer, it tends to kind of ease off a little bit because summer's so hot. But now it is getting cooler again and more comfortable to come outside. Our family is gathering. Our family, gathering is a part of our DNA. Gathering is it's nothing that really takes much to invoke that. So when we see the fact that our people have been scared to go outside for whatever reason, we know that that's because of a traumatic interruption in our DNA. And we're grateful because we have people, and we have 3 different pockets of guests today on this very program that represent very concerted efforts to heal that trauma in very tangible ways. We're going to start with our brother joining us from the Volta region.
Yes, Ice.
Be very specific. The Volta region. One of the places where I walk every day, even though you don't see me. Liate Wote.
We feel the Ice spirit though. Don't trust me, man. Every time I'm here, I already know.
My brother Kishan Myers. Bingi Shan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you clear. What's going on?
Man, giving thanks, man. I'm, as you playing the Frankie Beverly, I got to give my own kind of testimony, man. My mother, Frankie Beverly and Luther Vandross is like my younger days, childhood, if you will, hearing my mother play, man. So this was a hard one for me as an ancestor because
true.
I remember listening to him all the time. And funny enough, back in the day, like when I was in college, buying his album, you know what I mean? Like I was vibing. Even after leaving the nest, if you will, I still vibe to him, and his words resonate. And that particular song, the amount of musical instruments, like if you just listen to just the instrumental,
come on, man.
It hits you on so many different realms when you really tune into it. Like, wow, there's so many sounds that resonate, even if you don't consciously take in those sounds. As you mentioned about Baba Bilal and the healing. It really is frequencies that those sounds go. Words sound power, as I say. So it's on so many levels. It's that frequency. So big up the great ancestor, man. The fallen tree. We're gonna continue to ring his name out. We're gonna continue to honor him in our word and our works. And definitely he made an impact on the world. So definitely want to honor him as we move forward. So we giving thanks, man. Same way.
My skin full of goosebumps. As I hear you talk, because it's real. I can bear witness. Again, man, there's something special about music, and many times, I was just in GT, in Guyana, in Buxton, your second home, or one of your second homes, at least your third home. I know you got Woodbine. I know you got Ghana now, so I don't know how it ranks.
Man, I can't even front, man. Buxton, the way Buxton touched me, man, when I first touched down in '97, man, I can't. That one there, I'm claiming it, man. The love
Exactly.
I felt from the family,
Yeah,
Buxton is in my heart forever, family. Yeah, I
man,
love.
I heard before I knew you. I heard about you. This man walking around barefoot like a country boy. Your reputation preceded you. So I'm like, yeah, we can roll. We can get right in it. But I was saying, we were in Buxton recently, in Guyana on a delegation, and one of the conversations that came up, we were actually on a brother's TV show, Dr. David Hines, about this whole separation of culture from revolution. Like a lot of times in our minds, in our in the Roman, and I don't say in our minds, in the Western mind, is a separation. So when you think about music, you think about ritual and prayer and all these things, it's like something off to the side, and then there's the practical work. So just seeing how someone like Frankie Beverly, his legacy kind of speaks for itself. Not kind of, it does, in a way that talks about how music is not just a legacy of Frankie Beverly as a person. Definitely, there's that there. But look at how he came through. He came through the realm of music and used music as a healing force for true.
No,
and just like the Proverbs, give us such profundity in so few words. Just listen to this, man. They both one and the same. he just broke it down. Man. People going for $20,000, retreats in the weekend to just be told the same thing that Frankie Beverly told you on the dance floor.
That's
joy and pain.
One and the same.
It's one and the same.
Continuum,
Yeah, man. But in that same breath, Bingy Sean, because the time is, I don't like to say it's limited. That's very nuanced in this English language. But we have a short amount of time to stay with the eye today. I want to talk about the annual Harvest Fest celebration, and I want to talk about it from the wider context. We just played. I don't know if you heard before you came on. We played a speech by Brother Ibrahim Toure, who is, of course, as they know, the head of Burkina Faso at this time. And really one of the champions that's really given us a lot of. I don't subscribe to hope, but a lot of faith and a lot of renewed energy and and just really joy, really, to see how a next generation is picking up the sword of Kwame Nkrumah and Thomas Sankara and Samora Machel and Stephen Biko, and the list goes on and on. You know what I mean? So in that speech, he was just talking about. He was breaking down history of how the old masters, they say they want to develop Africa, but they won't leave when we are looking to develop it. They're like parasites. And in that backdrop, I'm happy to say I got people all afternoon on this program who are showing example in small and profound ways, in ways that can be straight up duplicated, of how this redemption of Africa is going to take place and is taking place. So in come Habesha into that mix. Helping Africa by establishing schools at home and abroad. With all of that being said, on the wide picture, one of the things that Habesha does every year is host a few gatherings where the family can really get an example, get a sneak preview, get a peek of what life can really be like on a daily basis. So talk to us about the Harvest Fest in that context and what's taking place this year.
Well, in this beautiful give thanks, I must always give thanks to WRFG, all the air shifters, big up the family, even if it's not during a pledge time, definitely support WRFG, community supported radio, a voice for the voiceless in many cases. So just big up, the I Kofi from the beginning, Abashaka, Iras. It's so many to name that have supported Wanique, Habesha over the years, Mama and Jerry. So I have to big up WRFG, and really the Harvest Fest and Organic Fest were birthed, in part through definitely WRFG was a doula for Harvest Fest and Organic Fest. And you know, we have Organic Fest in the summer, and we kind of relate it to the seasons, if you will. So summertime, like you planting, this Harvest Fest is a harvest, and you know, we use the adage that it's not just, you know, as Baba Rashid Nur would say, he didn't just grow food, he grew people. And so what Harvest Fest really kind of has transformed into, in addition to having a musical vibe, we have demonstrations. We have some powerful demonstrations this year that I'm excited about to see, or, you know, through video and film. What I love about Harvest Fest and what it's really kind of grown and matured into, it really is a showcase of Habesha's harvest. And harvest is not just what's growing in the ground. It's actually the people who have come through Habesha. And so one thing we're excited about is that we're featuring Habesha alumni. Like literally the presenters and the speakers, the majority of them are those who've gone through a Habesha training program. The vendors that you will see are, most of them are Habesha alum. This is really our harvest. This is the testament to what we have been doing, right? The people that you see come out of our program. So I'm so excited about that and how Harvest Fest has really kind of got its own identity, you know, centered in the garden, which is beautiful. We're going to have music, we're going to have demos, but it really is about showcasing and highlighting those Habesha family members who are now making great moves, representing Habesha well worldwide. And for me, it's just a continuation to be 5,000 miles away, to have the leadership team, which is made up of Habesha alum, to have the events committee, which is made up of Habesha alum, to be able to do these activities. You know, it gives me joy, and it kind of talks to that revolutionary spirit of our brother Toure, who you were talking about, which I'm definitely familiar with. You know, he's right around the corner from us. And what they're doing and bringing in that, returning to that revolutionary spirit that our leaders had, you know, during those early days of the OAU. That's what helped to birth Habesha, right? That's what helped to birth the work that we do. So it really is an inspiration, and we're excited just to be the showcase, to highlight, to heal, to grow. Definitely Frankie is going to be booming. You know what I mean? We're going to have, you know, it's going to be a lot going on, but at the end of the day, it's about really highlighting the harvest, which are those individuals who have now created businesses, who are making impacts on their communities, who have grown the work of Habesha exponentially. You know, the old saying, you know, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, you teach him how to. So we say, you know, we can give them an eggplant, they'll eat for a day. We teach them how to grow food, they eat for a lifetime. And if you teach them to teach others, they now can make sure the whole community and village feeds themselves. So this is the next step, not just to teach them how to grow the food. Now we're actually also teaching people how to teach others. This is the next growth of Habesha. So that's what I'm excited about. Give thanks again for the I and WFG for always supporting. But we're looking forward to see the family this upcoming Saturday, you know, the 21st, which is also within Revolutionary Spirit and no coincidence, Kwame Nkrumah's Earth Day. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, who many know is the considered the father of the first president of Ghana. So we are celebrating him as well this year for Harvest Fest, in addition to our alumni. And so we're looking forward to seeing the family at the Habesha Gardens on this upcoming Saturday between 2 and 8. One thing I will mention for all of those who listening, we are doing a seedling giveaway, and I would say big up On the Farm. This is I call it a partnership between On the Farm and being able to give seedlings. So big up the IVE and the On the Farm family for helping to provide seedlings. But we will be giving away seedlings. Everybody who comes to participate, the general public can get up to 10 seedlings fall crop. And those who are Habesha alumni or a part of the Metro Atlanta Farmer Support Fund can get up to 50 seedlings. So we're excited about that, fan, because we want to see the food in the ground. You know what I mean?
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. We're hearing from our brother Kashan Myers. We got 2 more minutes, Bingi Sean, Executive Director of Habesha Incorporated, helping Africa by establishing schools at home and abroad. Their work speaks for itself. I ain't got to tell you about it. There's a website. There's all kind of information out there where you can see. There's something that's getting viral right now on the Instagram and the social media. A recent visit that one took to Kazi, and just seeing, like, I was there, 3 years ago now, at the grand opening, the soft grand opening, and just seeing the beauty of the place, man. It's just, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. So before we let you go, I want to ask you to give the address and everything about the Harvest Fest, but also autumn is the gateway in this side of the world to the gestation period. You know, we're going into the cold. You know, we have taught and shared with our community, relayed what our elders have shared with us for going on 30 years now. You know what I'm saying? In terms of living with the seasons, you know, living with the seasons, and how using nature as our magic carpet, so to speak, as our oracle, as our, you know, as an indication, as our inspiration, and all that helps us to be more productive. So we're going into the gestation period. We're going into the cool months. We're going into inside time, longer nights, you know, shorter days, time to reflect and time to, you know, see what went well, what didn't go well, you know, leading up to the winter solstice, where it's the time where we, you know, you plant your plant seeds, you know, your plant seeds, you know, and then watch them bloom into the summer and in the spring and the summer. So give us a little update or a little forecast, if you will, of what's happening with Habesha, because Habesha always got something going on that can benefit the wider community as well as its alumni. I mean, I love what you just said about the fact that Harvest Fest is Habesha's harvest. And I remember when we first doing the Organic Fest, you know, we were using our connections to link people from outside to come and perform and to do this, that, and the third. It's so beautiful to see that right now. Not to say we won't, but there's no the imperative to reach outside of the network is not there, because Habesha has done what it's supposed to do, which is feed the future, cultivate.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's beautiful. Big up, you know, to the family just for being able to even have that testimony. But we're running out of time, so-called. Just give us a little update in terms of what's happening with coming up with Habesha as we go into the cool months.
Yeah, well, you know, on both sides of the water, growth is happening. You know, expansion is happening, and really, as you even mentioned with Harvest Fest, like the network, we basically expanded the network, right? So instead of saying, "Hey, we brought more people into the network to grow the network," and so I'm excited because Habesha, we really are as an organization maturing now. One of our main goals, you know, for me, as executive director, is now to be able to cultivate the future leaders, you know what I mean? And so focusing on our alumni has been a big piece. I'm excited that we were able to do something that, you know, we had a strategic plan last year when I was stateside in August. And we said one thing that we want to start doing as an organization is being able to support our alumni with financial resources. You know what I mean? Like getting, it's one thing to get resources to do programs and activities, give things. It's another thing now to be to allocate resources. So I'm proud that we actually just launched, and I mentioned this, the Metro Atlanta Farmer Support Fund, where we were able to support 26, Black farmers, Black farmer organizations and businesses with small grants. Big up Jay Olu, the city of Atlanta, for the work that he's doing in the urban ag and the food systems department. Big up Sister Amina, same way.
Sure.
But I'm excited about that because, you know, we supported several alumni, but we also supported those who weren't necessarily alumni, but within a larger ecosystem. So we're really now trying to be about collecting these resources. And we're using the terminology reparative agriculture as a part of how we move forward in our overall mission as an organization. So really that, I would say, if anything, reparative agriculture is where we're moving. We always, you know, recruiting for, we got our next Habesha Works program that'll be coming in the spring, but we're always recruiting for that. Here in Ghana, we got the Jojo May Fest that's happening in October. We actually just launched the Kazi Chef and Training Apprenticeship here in Ghana. So now we're training young folks here in Ghana on plant-based cuisine, healthy nutrition. So that's a whole nother piece to where it ties in again to our one of our 5 pillars, which is holistic health. So I'm excited about what we're doing. Definitely the family, just stay tuned. You know, Instagram, social media is the way. Our website, www.habeshainc.org. Definitely for this upcoming weekend, 2 to 8, the Habesha Garden Complex, 477 Windsor Street, that's Southwest Atlanta, the Dunbar Neighborhood Center. Adjacent to the center is the garden. We want to see the family out and come and talk to, you know, our alumni. Come and hear from them. Come and see what they're doing. Come and be a part of the Habesha family. If you've been on the outskirts as an event, you know, goer, Come take a training program. You know what I mean? Come be a part of the larger family, because that's what really we're about. It's about building and healing from the negative effects of the transatlantic and Arab human trafficking. Some people call slavery. We see that we're solution based and we're solution oriented, and the Harvest Fest is one of those times when we can celebrate the solutions to the challenges that we have.
Yes, sir.
So,
and there's plenty of them.
You know,
give thanks. Hey, thank you for joining us, Bingy Sean.
Give thanks.
A relatively short touch, but a sweet one, and very impactful, of course. So again, harvestshopinc.org is the website. The Harvest Fest taking place tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I keep saying tomorrow like it's Friday. On Saturday on the grounds of the Roselle Barney Park. Harvest Shop Gardens is there, 477 Windsor Street. Give thanks, Bingy Sean.
Bless up to the family. Much love.
Much love. Y'all stay tuned to yourself, family. We got a packed show, a whole heap of super duper in the building. Stay tuned to yourself and check out these very important announcements. We'll be right forward with more vibes. 89.3 on the FM dial. Tell a friend. Let them know we're on the radio. If you're riding with us through the terrestrial radio and you got to get out your car, but you don't want to miss these vibes, you can log on, wrfg.org. Greetings to everyone joining us all over the world. I see y'all on the map, and I see some of y'all. There's some of the apps that don't show us the tracking, But we give thanks for all of you joining us today on the Ancestral Rock. Stay tuned.
Greens Cultural Festival is Saturday, September 28th from 12 until 8 p.m. at the First Baptist Church of Decatur, located at 308 Claremont Avenue, Decatur, Georgia, 30030. The Collard Greens Cultural Festival is a family-friendly event celebrating African-American food and culture. This year's festival will feature live music, entertainers, a marketplace, food vendors, pony rides for children, the Black Sustainability Summit, Nobantu's Collard Green Ice Cream, and a Collard Green Cook-Off competition. Again, the 15th Annual Collard Greens Cultural Festival is Saturday, September 28th from 12 until 8 p.m. at the First Baptist Church of Decatur, located at 308 Claremont Avenue, Decatur, Georgia, 30030. For more info and to sign up for the cook-off competition, Original Collard Greens Cultural Festival.com and 1-800-253-3397. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by listener-supported community radio, WRFG 89.3 FM Atlanta and WRFG.org.
The station for progressive information and hand-picked quality music. With a heavy emphasis on the hand-picked quality music today, We love the opportunity to let the music play. Bless up all the West End crew. Fairburn, College Park, East Point, Decatur, where they say is greater. Stone Mountain. Everybody on the west side. Bless up yourself. East, west, north, and south, We got so many vibes going on, we're just going to keep it moving. We got a special brother in the studio with us. And more on the line, getting ready to join us. For those of y'all linking up with us on Facebook, there's another way to link us. Or on Under Farm's YouTube page. We want to make it easy for you to take us home with you, But my next guest knows all about this infusion, this integrated path that we've been talking about how music is, I can't even say meets African culture, it's just such a, it's one and the same. Like Frankie Beverly said, you know, when we saw that second line, we saw African culture at work in a very clear way, and you know, how New Orleans showed up for Frankie Beverly the other day. In so many ways, we saw the solidarity, the respect that we give for life. We saw collective energy. We saw a ritual in a way that has been unbroken, even though the Mafia tried to break it. And of course, we felt the music. So looking over to my left in the studio, Detroit in the house. by way of
my brother.
By way of Mama Africa.
Yes, I am.
Mama Fashola Oduna Day.
It's wonderful to be here.
Abu Abole. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good to have you in the studio.
Yes.
I want to ask you what you're thinking about, what you thought about when you saw that second line, if you did see it, the images of the celebration for Frankie Beverly, but just reflecting on him in general, you know, his work.
Yeah, well, being from Detroit, we have a culture called stepping, and what some people know as line dancing. A lot of the line dances that we do, when you play Frankie Beverly, it just comes right up. So anything dealing with his passing just reflects, makes me reflect on family, good times in the backyard, you know, people exchanging, hugging, eating food, you know, the things that create love memories.
True.
And yeah, so, you know, a tree has fallen, an elephant has fallen. And yeah, we you know, watching that was very emotional. I didn't cry, but it was very emotional. Some of the people that I celebrated back with are passed on now, you know, so it brings up those kind of emotions as well. And so any musician that can bring up emotion can change things, you know. And so, yeah, it's an honor to even be touched by that brother. You know.
Yeah, real talk. And I noticed, you know, as we start to talk about what I want to talk about, you know, in any way we can, every time we come up here, is how we recognize and even cultivate these African intentions. Like I started going viral all of a sudden, there's going to be a wear white, you know, all white out for Frankie Beverly. I think tomorrow, people all over the world is going to wear white in his honor. You know, these are people in one level that might still call themselves American and be in the political race and Democratic, Republican, BS and all of that, but there's something that happens in terms of instinct that touches from deeper within, you know? And just seeing how someone like that, like you just said, can bring that out, to bring out what is really deep within, which really is what about you and the family are about, you know?
That's right.
You know, it's just cultivating that African instinct, cultivating that human instinct, which really took deep root and spread throughout the world from Africa. So I talk about that in terms of how, I want to ask you this way, I want to ask you, what has it been like to observe from earlier times to now, the clear proliferation, like the busting at the seams of this African DNA, which was, they tried to tame it with the relaxer and with the church and with this and that. And it just seemed like this busting at the seams. It's everywhere.
Yeah, so early recognition looks like people connecting pouring liquor on the curb to our ancient traditions, you know that. But now, like you say, like we're doing a whiteout for a deceased
musical hero.
Yeah, I don't want to say person, you know, almost a deity in a sense, you know, when it comes to music and how people are moved. That's going to become a ritual. So once it goes off this time, our people are going to do what we do, create magic, and we're going to, for the next icon of our community that passes on, that's going to become a thing that becomes a part of our community, that becomes a part of our heritage, that becomes something that we pass on. And then just by doing that, you know, anybody who practices anything metaphysical or African centered, you know, we know the energy of white and what that brings, you know. So those people don't have to say anything about Obatala or the energy of white cloth, but just the idea of being in the motion of is going to create the kind of ashe that will be passed on for generations. Yeah. So, this retention is starting to, like you say, bust out the seams to where now it needs to be identified. And people are really asking for what this is that I feel. What is it? What is this thing I'm dreaming about? What is this presence I feel? And so these different questions, are being answered through African studies, African spirituality, on many different levels.
Right.
So,
and it's coming through pop culture. I mean, I'm not to put the cart before the horse, but we getting ready to pull up a few of our comrades, and they represent a podcast. I love the name, Sacred Streets. Yeah. Talk about busting through the scene. I mean, Sacred Streets. We take everything and we understand, just like Frankie earlier said about joy and pain. The whole question of the sacred and the profane, and how there used to be such this big dichotomy, and now we're getting to see that, okay, there's elements, fundamental elements, which according to how one is taking on their own personal, sense of direction, their sense of clarity, purpose, and everything, and choose which way to direct their life. But it's all right there, and the elements is there, and it's available to everyone.
yeah.
So to me, that's wonderful. We at the top of the hour, we're speaking about Ashura Oduna Day, Yeye's Botanical of Oshe Lobe, and a lot going on in this city, in our world, in this region, as we come into the autumn. And one of the resounding, regular, the recurring and resounding, events that really are a great display of African culture right here is the Oshun Fest. So we're going to take a listen to a very important announcement and then come right forward and talk more about our show, as well as some of the guests, about the work that goes on behind the scenes to produce such an activity which everyone loves every year. But what I'm interested in here is that y'all know, I like to know, what are the architects? What are the building blocks? As our great elder, who is now with a boom attorney at War Automatics, said to me one time right here on this radio station, he said to all of us, oftentimes we're not able to repeat the victories of our predecessors because we don't learn the architects of our revolution. You might hear about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. You might hear about some big names. You might see a couple clips on Eyes on the Prize. But have we really studied, what the people who set the Montgomery bus boycott off for a whole year, when we complaining now about how it's hard for black people to do anything for 3 days and all this kind of stuff, Are we telling ourselves a lie? Are we repeating a false narrative? Because if we study the architects, truly we wouldn't be saying that, So here we are, family, and we're here until the 4 o'clock hour. Again, tell a friend, let them know we're on the radio. You're tuned in to WRFG Atlanta, 89.3 of the FM dial. Stay tuned.
believe in their values.
libre et transparent selon que leurs valeurs. Quoi de plus normal?
What is more normal that we want to impose this on ourselves because it is they who dictate the rules.
Très bien. Nous avons décidé de nous assumer.
Very well, we have decided to take responsibility.
2023,
Do you know why on June 26, 2023, when Niger decided to turn the page, the slaves of Talon and their masters got on the big horses?
sont montés sur les grands chevaux. Ils ont mis leurs valets locaux en avant.
They put their local values forward and decided to wage a war against the Nigerian people. So we said, anyone who dares to take up arms against Niger will face us. Because we will wage a merciless war until the last drop of blood for anyone who dares to attack our states.
Ocean is the spirit of the river. In your hands, Jesus, sweet and steady giver. She'll turn your tears of sadness into gladness. Praise to ocean. Ocean is the spirit of the river. In your hands, Jesus, sweet and steady giver. She'll turn your tears of sadness into gladness. Praises to ocean.
Creator, Katana, Oludumare, Odumankoma, and Yahweh, Ama, Netea, all traditional African names for the one God. Abosu, Orisha, Loa, Neteru, aspects of the divine, Insamanko, Steps, Egongo, ancestors on whose shoulders we stand. Diagnose, libation, a spiritual offering, a prayer with drops to God, to earth, with water, fire, air, breath of life of the Creator, divine presence, wisdom, power, connecting us to ancestors. Queen Nzinga, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Malcolm X, Stephen Biko, connecting us to ancestors, struggles to progress, past.
Do you know why in like 2023, when Niger decided to turn the page, the slaves of Talon and their masters got on the big horses?
Sont montés sur les grands chevaux. Ils ont mis leurs valets locaux en avant.
They put their local values forward and decided to wage a war against the Nigerian people. So we said, anyone who dares to take up arms against Niger will face us. Because we will wage a merciless war until the last drop of blood for anyone who dares to attack our states.
As I sit here, I think of the words of, I think it was Robert Kennedy, who said, those who make violent or peaceful revolution impossible, make violent revolution inevitable. And I'm saying that, Marshall, as I'm hearing this brother who is really helping to galvanize a powerful movement in West Africa. The other day, they just took back all the gold mines, you know, as a warning, as a message to the people of this Turtle Island. Because even with us right now in the studio, we got some people who are trying to help but a peaceful revolution. You know, in terms of just restoring our humanity through our culture. But the other side of the coin is, you know, it ain't all sweet. It ain't all sweet. And for those of you who are listening, who presume to be a part of a so-called ruling class, who are going to keep people in subjugation, or even those of you who admire these people in so-called power who are pillaging the world, raping the Congo like every day. I think that stats say like every 30 seconds a woman is raped in the Congo to preserve this Western way of life and making violent revolution inevitable. So in the phone line with us, again, we have some family members. In the studio with us, we have Baba Fashola Adunade, and we're getting ready to talk about the annual Oshun Festival. We heard Black Notes Libation, big tune, big tune, and I love to be able to show sometimes in one hand, here's this, that's the red pill and the blue pill, you know. So let's get back to the sweetness, because you know that was just a warning, you know. And a warning is a blessing, you know. One of my teachers used to say, a prophecy which fulfills is a failed prophecy. This prophecy is supposed to give you the opportunity to correct your ways, you know what I'm saying? So let's get back to the sweetness. The sweetness is Oshe Lope Ifatempo is here with us. And on the phone line as well, joining us on the StreamYard link on Instagram and Facebook and all of that. Baba, before we introduce the rest of our guests, I want to ask you about Yeye Oshun.
Okay.
You know, like I said, from what I've been hearing in these streets, in these sacred streets, you hear this one aspect of her, which is what we all love, honey, sweetness, but it ain't all sweet, you know. And sometimes people have to be reminded of that reality, you know. Sure. Especially those people who have made it necessary for us to even have a Sankofa, you know. Sure. The people who made it necessary for Baba Metahochi, who will be celebrated this weekend, to rise up, you know, and do his thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We just minding our own business, but then here comes an interruption. So these great African people came and gave us some reviving, you know. So talk to us about Oshun, to set a stage, to set a backdrop for why we're having a Oshun festival.
Okay, so just like anything, the surface information is true, but there's also deeper parts. And so Oshun is one of the main orishas or deities, female deities of the Yoruba pantheon. There's others, but she's one of the most celebrated. She represents the river, which most Orisha represent a force of nature in some way. She represents the river, parts of childbearing, relationships, wealth. That's the surface part. And then just generally, you know, a mother's going to do anything for their children. You know, that's just the nature of a mother. And so with that said, we know that Oshun will do anything that we go and ask for with the good heart and good intention. But there's also other parts that are not reflected in her images or her narrative. If anybody has a chance to go look at the traditional Oshun worshipers in Nigeria, even their festival, a lot of the women are carrying a blade. It's a brass blade that they carry around, and it's, you know, like a weapon. And so that tells you alone that, you know, it's not all honey. You know, these women are carrying blades around to protect their children. There's also a praise name. Oshun is the Akuko Gangana. Akuko Gangana means this huge rooster. And that symbols a rooster that's sitting on the fence watching her children. I like to use that praise name because a rooster is a male bird, but the symbol is talking about how fierce a rooster will fight to the death, like a mother will fight to the death for her children. So those are the other parts of the Oshun energy that are used when it comes to revolution, establishing community. Oshun was the one who led the warriors out of Oshogbo forever. They've never had war on this particular town. It was Oshun who led the warriors without a gun, out of the town of Oshogbo and that region. So, this festival represents all of those elements. Each year we've had a theme going on dealing with one of the aspects of Oshun. The needle is a part of Oshun's iconology, where one you're dealing with the weaving of thread, the weaving of people, bringing things together, mending. The comb deals with how we look at ourselves, how we want to look at our skin, our noses, whatever you come with. It's the idea of looking at yourself as beautiful however you come. So many different symbols outside of just love.
And we can go into a rabbit hole with that. But I just asked you for because you did it masterfully as you do, because we want to make sure, and I'm being kind of deliberate in this whole analogy and this connection of the streets, the street life, and the for lack of a better word, the struggle. I don't really tend to use that word a lot. It means many different things, because we've been kind of addicted to struggle. But the creative tension that happens in the regular world of everyday people, and then with this spirituality, because oftentimes we're just taught that we got to go somewhere else to be spiritual, other than to be ourselves. So with that being said, we got some guests on the line. I wanted to ask you to introduce them. Yes. The guests on the line, and I know that they're all part of the podcast, the Sacred Streets podcast.
Yes. And these are all our temple members, supportive groups, family, business partners, and everything. So let's go from Ifadoyin, who is an Iyanifa, initiated to Ifa, and a media specialist and master. Then we have, who will be next oldest, will be Baba Ikusanu, also known as Ogunbola. He is a Babalawo, a native and alien, and one of my best friends. Then we have, last but not least, the youngest of us, Olosunde, more commonly known as Oshun Remi, who is also a family member, one of our Oshun priestesses of our temple, who does a lot of service in the community, through the temple, and just on her own with her family. So this is my family and people who I know have been to the Oshun Festival, supported it, seen the insides of it, and have definitely benefited from just the energy of the festival.
Indeed. Well, I want to welcome all y'all to the airways of WRFG. Welcome to the Ancestral Rock. Yes. Can you hear me?
Greetings. Thank you for having us.
So I want to talk first. Shula and I have been talking about this Sacred Streets podcast. And like I said, you might have heard, I love the name. The name says so much. So I want to ask y'all, from the perspective of your journey, coming up in this country, in this Western world, what compels you to even be a part of such a podcast? What is it behind all of that? Because I'm sure it's not just something for the camera's sake,
I think I can speak to that. First, I know we came up with the concept for Sacred Streets as a platform. I had just gotten my hand in the summer of 2023, hand of Ifa, and there was just a lot I didn't know, but I was really eager to learn. And a lot of things you have to be around for a lot. You have to study a lot. And there were a lot of questions. And I knew if I had questions about certain things, a lot of other people would have questions. There was a lot of things you could read on the internet that could be very wrong. And you want to know what's right. You don't want to have misinformation or be led astray. So that's where the concept initially came for Sacred Streets. So how do we get these stories, this culture, this history, and we relate to it in things we run into in our daily lives? And how do we explain certain things from the Orisha culture to the lay person who is curious, or maybe they don't understand certain aspects, and we can redirect the narrative on a lot of those topics and those things. So that's how Sacred Streets was born. And yeah, the name itself, that was interesting. We had a session, what are we going to call this? And we knew we wanted to have elements of the hood, right? We wanted to very much include the people in this, and also to give people a sense that they very much are sacred. You know, they're human beings. It's our lives. So Sacred Streets, that's how it came about. Bola, I don't know where you come in.
Well, there's a thing. There's a thing there. There's a thing there. Before Sacred Streets, while we were going to do a podcast, we was going to call it A Shouty UE5 as a question. Something Raymond was thinking about. We tried
as a question I hear every day.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't be calling me Shouty. Hey, Unc.
Hey, Unc, right. Hey, Shouty UE5, because that was the thing you would hear around. And so we tabled that and then started talking about Sacred Streets later on and came up with that, mixing some of the elements of our neighborhood with the community and culture.
Give thanks. Ogunbola, I want to turn over to you as a native ATLian. It's often assumed that, that's the furthest thing from Africa that you can be is, not necessarily just an ATLian, but everything that ATL represents, especially in the pop culture, And here we are, you are a priest of an African tradition. Talk to us about, give us the condensed version of how coming up in this society, what attracted you to the tradition that you are now such an integral part of?
Okay, peace, man. Thank you for having me. What's up, everybody? This your boy, Ogunbola, 1/3 of Sacred Streets. But to answer your question, man, like I always tell the story, I tell people all the time, like, I've been around the Yoruba tradition maybe since I was about 17 years old. I'm 40 years old now. And like the part of the city I grew up in is the West End.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally grew up.
The African village.
Right. I literally grew up down the street from Big Bell, down the street from the post office, if anybody familiar with that.
Of course.
Directly down the street from the Shrine of the Black Madonna.
Yeah.
So everyone I knew, like most of all my friends growing up, either their parents was devotees, or either they was Islamic or Black Power, ex-Panther members, or part of the Shrine of the Black Madonna. So for me, I've always just been around it, the majority of my life. Going to a historic high school, Booker T. LaFerre, Washington. Going to a historic middle school, Southwest, where it's called Jean Child Young now. So it's all. So if people listen to Killer Mike, like it's just always been embedded in me to be, an African in America. You know what I'm saying? Black American.
So you went to Booker T. Washington?
Yes.
The Bullfrogs. I didn't realize that.
The mighty BTW, brother.
The Bullfrogs. I ain't gonna get on you right now, but I'm a proud Astro. I taught at Frederick Douglass High School for many years. But we ain't gonna mess up the Sacred Streets conversation.
We'll get
we ain't gonna start set tripping right now. But I'm gonna get at you at 4:00.
All right.
Our sister Olushunde. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
If you have something on, I'm getting an echo. So you don't need to have the volume on, listen to the radio. Please, everyone, just turn that down. I'm hearing an echo.
Okay, is that better?
So, yes. again, Atlanta, keeping it in terms of this trajectory and how we are now in the midst of such a beautiful opportunity for people to see African culture, not just at a festival, but up close as the temple represents and teaches classes and all this kind of stuff. I just want to ask you though a question, just in terms of these gatherings. Atlanta is known for the Jazz Fest. In the '90s, it was Freaknik. They got something called Nigga Day. Thomas Jefferson, I'm just saying, all that stuff. And then we have the Oshun Festival. Help me to understand for yourself as a participant. Let's just say, even as somebody, just as someone, as a passerby, not even someone actively involved in helping to plan or whatever. What compels you? What drew you? What motivated you to participate in something like the Oshun Festival?
I had heard about the Oshun Festival a year before I actually even understood what it meant. And so I was already a part of the Ile, or getting my footing inside of the Ile before the Oshun Fest. The next one came around, and it was going to be my first time. So I was really excited, being that I was a part of an Ile who was, I would say, responsible for throwing this big festival. So
and when
that
you
was
say
really
Ile,
exciting.
I don't want to assume that everyone knows what that means. What
Okay,
is that?
Ile is your spiritual house. So Oshay Lugbe would be considered my Ile.
Okay.
So I was getting my grounding, and I was joining Oshay Lugbe, and then the festival came around, and so I was a part of putting it together. It was a thing. It was a lot to do, but also very, very, very rewarding. So I think a lot of people, especially passerbyers who may just be at the river when we are doing that part of the festival, I think something that would attract them is the singing, the songs, and the energy and all of those things. When they see that happening, and they see all the people in white coming with their offerings, they stop and they're like, hold on, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
I want to join.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, even if they do start following the crowd and doing this, they are, getting blessings. They're getting their blessings from just us being around in the same space. Mm-hmm. So I think for a person who is coming off the street, who knows nothing about Orisha, and they were to see us doing this festival, 10 times out of 10, they're going to join. They're going to join the crowd. They're going to join everything that we're doing. And then they're gonna try to figure out what it is. It's usually a way into Orisha. Mm-hmm. It's for anybody spiritual, anybody off the streets. When they see Oshun Festival happening, they are now being pushed towards that direction of life, and they're gonna find somewhere to go get what they're looking for.
Real talk. 404-523-8989 is the number. It's 26 minutes after the hour of 3. We're here until the 4 o'clock hour. You're tuned in to the Ancestral Rock. I'm your brother Ras Kofi, sitting in with Baba Fashola, with Dunade, with Iya Ifadoyin, Baba Ogumbola, Yeye Olushunde, and we're talking about the Oshun Festival, which is taking place not this weekend, but next weekend, correct? Next weekend, yes. So I want to go back to Ogumbola for a minute, and all of y'all, really, I want to ask y'all the same question. What's your favorite part or memory? Maybe it's a segment, a recurring segment, some aspect of the festival that happens every year, or maybe it was just a memory from a particular one that you went to. Bola, starting with you, what's your favorite memory or aspect of the Oshun Festival?
Okay, my favorite part, definitely, the 16 lamps, the lighting of the 16 lamps, definitely. When Iya Oshun Toki come out and let everybody know what's the purpose of the 16 lamps. And when we get to the river procession, my apologies. When Baba Shola them is drumming, everybody giving their offerings, the kids in the water, everybody's bathing. I think that's. I would say the river possession is number one for me. Yep, because it's just everybody's smiling. The energy is very, very high, man. So yeah, I would definitely say for me would be the river possession.
That's what's up. How about yourself, Fadoyi?
I agree. I hate to be a copycat, but you see all these beautiful Black people in white, and especially when we start to march and we're chanting, we're singing, and we're going to the river. We have all these sunflowers and fruits, and it overwhelms you almost. It's just you want to just stop and look, and then not to mention, when you're saying your prayers into the offerings, and that moment when you release them, you can't even describe it. It's just it's a wonderful feeling, but it's also a very beautiful sight to take in, and it's one of those things that you could capture it in video and in pictures, but to be there is just another level.
For sure. How about yourself, Olushunde?
So y'all gonna be mad at me because I'm saying this, but exactly what they said. But for the 16 candles, my favorite part is because the entire area, it like transforms. Like when the sun starts going down at nighttime, it's getting dark and we're transitioning from the children's festival to the nighttime partying. And it's like the space just gets unlimitedly big, and there's so many people and it's so much happening, and it's just everybody's on the same frequency. So the 16 candles is totally my favorite part. And then when we go to the river and you see all the people in the river, and you see all these people who have been praying for babies all year at the shrine, right? And they get in the water and they're washing their bellies, and then a couple weeks later, I'm pregnant. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part.
To see the manifestation of the prayers.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's up. 30 minutes after the hour, y'all. We're tuned into the Ancestral Rock. You tune into yourself, and we invite you at all times. If you tune into nothing else, stay tuned to yourself. Baba Shola, we have a few more minutes left, and I want to ask you to kind of bring to light some of the different aspects of the festival for those who have never experienced it, for those who are planning to come this year. I mean, it's really always a buzz around the time of the festival, like in the streets, including the cyber streets, But so that we can get, as our sister said earlier, it's easy to get caught up with the false teachings of Babalawo Google, Sheikh Google, whatever you want, what I mean? Because that's all this, the surface stuff. So we are blessed to have people who are participants and really progenitors in many ways of our culture that we study right now.
So the main 2 days are Saturday and Sunday, but we start the festival on Thursday with a workshop so that people can prepare their minds for what they're going to tune into Saturday and Sunday. Like Iya said, a big part of the festival is being on one accord and knowing why you're there. So on Thursday, we actually do the workshop dedicated to learning the knowledge and information of our show, getting people's minds wrapped around what we're doing. Then that same, that's on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. And then that same night at 7:45, we do a song class for our show so that people who are going to come can learn some songs and participate. When you're active and a part of the ritual, it helps with the blessings that you're asking for, and you feel more involved. So the Thursday at 7:45 is the song class. We'll be doing all Oshun songs, traditional Oshun songs from Nigeria. Friday, we have a dance class with live drumming. So the drummers get to come, play, and sing. The musicians get a chance to praise Oshun before the festival, and also the dancers, because Oshun loves dancing and drum. She loves music. So the dance class is actually the pre-festival, because we're actually in the mode of celebrating Oshun through dance, drum, and song. That kind of warms up the festival. And then Friday night, we're just going to have a toast after whoever's around and there. We're going to toast to the festival to get ready for the following day, which is Saturday. Saturday, September 28th at 2 p.m. is a day party. So we honor the children. We have children's events, children's games, face painting. And so, to make sure that our children have the experience of the culture so that when they grow up and think about happy times, harmony times, their parents' happy times, like they'll refer to these events for those memories. And at sundown, we have the 16 lamps, the lighting of the 16 lamps, which is a ritual that they do in Nigeria at the Osun Festival, symbolizing a pact between Osayin, Osun, and Wumila. And so what we do, we light the lamps, and each Egbe or each Orisha group dances around the lamp until we go to the end and we celebrate the end of Osun.
Sure.
So that will complete the night on Saturday. Sunday, September 29th at 11 a.m., we process to the river. And we'll be announcing the location of the river online, Yeye's Botanica _ATL, and also Jose Lopez, Ifatu, Instagram page, TikTok, and all that. But that's on at 11 a.m. And then we return back to Yeye's Botanica. So the classes, workshops, dance class, also the celebration on Sunday is all at Yeye's Botanica East. That's 4960 Covington Highway, Decatur, Georgia. You pull up, you're going to see cars and just plenty of fanfare, so you won't be able to miss it.
True.
But it starts on Thursday and we go all the way into Sunday. If you need more information, you can check any of Yeye's Botanica, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you follow me, I'm putting it on my page as well, Baba Shola _ATL. So that is the events of the festival. And we're basically copying what our ancestors did because in Osun promised Oshogbo that they worship her every year, that they would never have war. So we said we want to just copy that and create more harmony and more unity in our community. We've been doing this festival for about 20 years now.
Sure. You're hearing the voice of Baba Fashola Odunade and our sisters and brothers joining us on the phone line. Before we let you go, any kind of protocol, I want to ask y'all for some closing remarks. And what I want to ask y'all to share is any message, especially for the parents of youth. This week alone, I've had interaction with a bunch of young people. And I'll say young people, I don't even mean like adolescent. I mean people in their 20s and 30s who are going through a lot of transformation. Let's just put it that way, sometimes in a forcible way. Sometimes it's forced on you. Sometimes we have rites of passage programs, that help us to move through that in a smoother kind of way. But we know that this is a huge part of, as Baba Shola was saying, the legacy of our ancestors. And I know just from personal knowledge, that's a big part of even what you do and the family does at the temple. We have the time to even go. We could be in for 5 hours and barely even scratch the surface in terms of what we want to talk about and the science and the joy of it all. So, but before that, any protocols that regular people who are compelled may want to go? They might want to know, am I welcome there? Any kind of protocols that the public should observe if attending?
It's basically come as you are, dress respectful. Dress to impress for sure, because we want to show our best, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, whatever definition that is for you. But just, we don't want it to be a bunch of skin,
So you mean like modestly?
Modest, yes. Dress modestly. White is the color. If you don't have anything yellow or anything that's like African print, you just wear something that's all right. It's a peaceful event. You're not going to need your choppers. You're not going to need any of that. You just come with a love heart, ready to celebrate, and come with an open mind.
Sure. That's a big
All
thing.
children are welcome, all families are welcome.
Lovely. Let's go to our guests that's joining us through StreamYard. Starting with you, let's start with the youngest in charge and move up to our big sister. What would you say? Any message, any words of encouragement or anything, just reflection, especially to the parents of the youth, the parents of the youth that are navigating this world that we're living in right now, from the perspective of our culture, from the perspective of that which you're studying and you're immersing yourself in. Any gems, any words of wisdom?
Yeah, always, be gentle with yourself and understand that, we're all going through a human experience, every last one of us, including the children that you're raising. Just be gentle with yourself and have self-control in any and everything that you do. That self-control will get you very, very far. If you learn how to control your anger, your mouth, your thoughts, all of those things, it'll take you very far. So be gentle with you and everyone around you, and have some self-control, have some decorum.
That's it. Ogumbola.
I was just thinking when Ocean Raymond was talking, I definitely agree with her about, be gentle. And I would definitely say, man, take time out with your kids. That job is not more important than your kids. You running the streets ain't important with your kids. Because your kids, they'll tell you what's going on. Be gentle, listen, and sometimes just take time together. Spend time together, get to know each other. And that'll solve a lot of the problems too. And like Shola say, leave your sticks at home. We don't need no switches at the at Ocean Festival. It's a cool place, calm place. The thing you've been praying for all year, bring your prayers. And our great mother, Ordier Oshun, definitely will hear your prayer.
Give thanks. Ifadoyi, you get the last word.
Thank you. So I think of anyone 30 and under as the babies. You're all babies to me. So this is to them and to anyone in care of them. It's important, even after they're 20 and 30, we still got to take care of them and look out for them. But I remember a really dark time in my 20s where I felt like my life was falling apart. But the thing to remember is a lot of times when you're falling apart, it's because you have to fall back together again. And this is what's supposed to happen. So you embrace it. You embrace your process. You embrace the things that make you quirky and weird. That's your sauce. And you're learning about yourself and embrace that process. And it's something I wish I had heard earlier in my own journey, because I think that would have helped me embrace and love myself even more. So just be curious about yourself and pour into yourself and love yourself. I can't stress that enough, because that is the gateway to your happiness. And if you're going to this Oshun Festival for the very first time, please just be open, release, and just have fun. Soak it in. Don't be so guarded, but be open, because that's where the magic happens.
So that's starting Thursday, and my dates are all messed up. I don't know if this is the October or November we're in right now, or are we still in December? Thursday, September after a week from today, basically.
Yes.
Starting a week from today. A week from today, going all the way through Sunday.
All events will be at Yates Botanicals.
And give you the address again.
4960 Covington Highway, Decatur, Georgia.
And any link in terms of information where they can tap in, phone number, website, anything.
Yes. If you want any information about the festival, you can text 404-457-6595. If you want to be a vendor or just want to know what we're doing, you can text that number and get a direct text back.
All right. I want to thank all of y'all for joining us this afternoon. I'm going to send y'all out with some theme music, some good people, some sweet music.
Yeah.
I know about Shola, know about this. And we're looking forward to celebrating with y'all, celebrating our culture, the Oshun Festival. This is which annual? This
is 19.
19. Oof. It's a powerful number. Numerology says 19 is when you stand on your own feet. Much love, y'all. know y'all young people know about this. We're here to teach you today. So, like, you know about this. Huh? Oh, yeah. I know you know about it.
And not the one for me.
44 minutes after the hour, we got another special guest coming up. I tell y'all, it's festival time. It's gathering time. It's gathering time, and we are grateful to gather under the groove of knowledge of our true selves, you know? What a blessing, man. What an honor. How many of y'all look yourself in the mirror this rise and just said, thank you, I love you? It ain't too late, you know. It ain't too late. You need to take the next break. If you're at work, you're going to wash your face for prayer, whatever you're doing, go on and say thank you. I want to play a very important announcement and then come forward with our next special guest. Thanks to everyone who's joined us so far. Brother Kashan Myers, Bingi Shan as we know him, Habisha Incorporated, our brother Baba Fashola, and all the family from Moshe Bay, Ifa Temple. Thank y'all for joining us. Stay tuned to yourself, family. You don't want to miss our next guest and these very important announcements. Check it out.
Cultural Festival is Saturday, September 28th from 12 until 8 p.m. at the First Baptist Church of Decatur, located at 308 Claremont Avenue, Decatur, Georgia, 30030. The Collard Greens Cultural Festival is a family-friendly event celebrating African-American food and culture. This year's festival will feature live music, entertainers, a marketplace, food vendors, pony rides for children, the Black Sustainability Summit, Nobantu's Collard Green Ice Cream, and a Collard Green Cook-Off competition. Again, the 15th Annual Collard Greens Cultural Festival is Saturday, September 28th from 12 until 8 p.m. at the First Baptist Church of Decatur, located at 308
stages and different places in society, and Queen Yen is one of them people. Queen Yen, good afternoon. What's happening? How you feeling? How was everything?
We're on the equinox period, so I'm sure hats off and salute to all of the farmers. They are gearing up to give us some good food in the fall, or already been preparing it and putting in the extra work. So give thanks for the work you do.
I say, yeah, we're here. We're here for the long run, you know. So Queen Yen, all day we've been playing, and I don't want to play anymore because of the time. We've been playing some clips from someone I consider to be a great leader on the African continent right now, who was laying a backdrop of some of the atrocities that still take place in this world on an everyday basis. You know, I mean, some things are up to interpretation, and some things are, you know, cruelty to people and robbing lands and all that, you know, atrocities. So I played that juxtaposed to my introduction to the guests that we've had all day, because these are guests that are solutionaries. And you are one of them, you know, people who can easily intellectually say this, that, third, and third, and the fifth, and the fourth, and the sixth, and the seventh, and eighth, and all this is wrong with the world. However, and in spite of that, here are some of the things that I know that are eternal, that can bring us back to our center, that can empower us to navigate this world and then beyond, not just to survive. So in that context, I want to ask you to talk to us about Oyun Botanical Gardens and the event that will be taking place this strong in on the 21st, the annual autumn equinox celebration.
So, fitting that to use the word center, Oyun Botanical Gardens is an eco-therapeutic garden. You'll see parks sprinkled throughout our garden. And it was inspired by my mother, who transitioned from predominantly parks to disease. And so I've been inspired to really do some work that helps us get back to the center, make sure we stay in the middle. In the middle is our heart, and when we keep our heart light, we can experience the state of mind and the state of being of heaven. And so this is a heavenly space to come to. We have strategic events and offerings at the garden that help you to accomplish this lightheartedness. And so every season change, I like to post something that can remind you to come back to the middle, come back to the balancing, the equalization, the merging, the interrelated relationships. And that is definitely one main integrated and interrelated relationship is us with the land. Mm-hmm. So we invite the community, every season change, to come out to the land. It's going to be a perfect day on Saturday. We have the equinox energy going on. We are pressing into the Aries season. We're also into the season of the moon, and we're pressing into the Libra season. And so this is a prime time for some balancing. So the things that we have planned for this event is in that vein. We have a farm tour, an educational farm tour to help you to really connect with the idea of growing on your own. But even if you take that tour and you realize, ooh, it's a lot of work, I don't want to grow my own, then you can be introduced to some local farmers and be connected to the community and connect with people who are passionate about growing and who could easily do it with their eyes closed. And so also we have a yoga session in the garden. Yoga is going to be something that is eco-therapeutic. Whenever you do something where you're moving your body, where you're breathing, where you're activating the blood in nature also, is considered to be therapeutic in nature, which is what ecotherapy means. And then we have a sound bath and meditation at 5 o'clock where you will be doing with me, where you would go to the sound in the garden as well as meditation. And the whole focus of that is for us to be able to come into the middle in our mind's eye, where we can see ourselves from the inside, from that kingdom within, so that as we go out into this world with all this polarity, we're able to still stay centered and feel, and we're able to experience a level of peace and stillness even in our movement. So that's the goal of everything that we do here. So this event is kind of a taste of almost everything. We also will have the market out, fresh market, where you can purchase the produce. We also have vendors coming out. We have family, friends, you know. So it's always a good time. So I appreciate the opportunity to, anytime I get, to let people know to come out. It's open to the community.
Give thanks. And this is taking place where? I said Oyun Botanical Gardens, but many people may hear me and not know where that is.
So OU Botanical Gardens is in East Point, 3353 Washington Road, East Point, Georgia. WRFC community may know it as the formerly known True Living Well headquarters. Shout out to True Living Well, who is still kicking it. Don't think just because they're not here, they don't still kick it. They're out on Lawson Street now at their location, but OU Botanical Garden is at that location, 3353 Washington Road, East Point, Georgia. The garden has been in the community for over 20 years, and I have taken over stewardship of the land as well as my partners and people who I collaborate, and we are still keeping it going with some extra good.
Ashe. So yes, as Queen mentioned, a place that has been around for a while, and many of y'all, even since the COVID, you know, we can't forget, it used to be called Shamba too for a couple of years, where many people.
The website is oyunbotanical.com. That's OYUN botanical.com.
Oyun Botanical.
Yes, oyunbotanical.com. Fresh produce, family-friendly events, wellness classes, gardening classes, times you can come and just commune in the garden, a lot of different wellness events. So yeah, it's always something nice going on here at OU.
And what time was the event, Queen, on Saturday?
11 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m.
All right.
11 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. The farm tour is at 3, yoga at 4, sound bath and meditation at 5.
All right.
The festival begins at 11 and concludes around 2.
Give thanks. Thank you so much for joining us, Queen. We're running out of time according to somebody's clock, as we always have to say to qualify that, because we really never will run out of time. But we thank you for being one of those reminders of that reality. You know, with the work that you do at OU Botanical Gardens and through OU Ministries. It's our sister Queen Yen reminding us that on this Saturday, all roads lead to 3353 Washington Road in East Point, Georgia, at the beautiful OU Botanical Gardens. And that will be. Yeah, much love. And that will be the occasion for the annual fall equinox celebration. We're making a move, y'all, and we are moving in the name of love. Stay tuned to yourself at all times. Never turn off that station. Stay tuned to yourself, y'all.
And free your fellow man. Africa has got to be free by 1983. Come on, make us see, brothers, fight on.